I was hoping that, after last year's fiasco, I was hoping that, this race is going to be solid, no issues, none of that, just have a clean, nice dirt race. Clearly, NASCAR Mother Nature didn't want that. They wanted to make things completely chaotic. So, wow, what a race we got to talk about here today. Welcome back to the episode of MDK Racing Victory Stop. My name is Jet. It's going to be a late night one, this one, early morning episode. So hopefully y'all going to stay up for this. We got a lot to talk about on the ninth race of the 2022 NASCAR Cup Series at the Dirt Bristol, or Bristol Dirt, however you want to call it. It was a chaotic race from start to finish. Now, what was interesting about this is that the first two stages were actually really good. I was surprised. I didn't think the race would be a farce, kind of like last year's was. But I was surprised by how good the racing was. Makes sense that this new next-gen car, NASCAR, had dirt racing in mind when they built this car. So it makes sense that this new car drives better on dirt. And it did. It put on a much better show, I felt, than last year. A lot cleaner, a lot more passing, just better overall racing. Stage 1 was dominated by Kyle Larson. That was not a surprise to see. Chase Briscoe led the first 48 laps before Kyle Larson took over in that stage. Something did happen in stage 1 that we do need to talk about, but anyways, we move over to stage 2. Stage 2 was way more chaotic. A lot more stuff happened in stage 2. Mainly because of rain. Rain was imminent. Rain was going to come and hit the racetrack at some point in time, but we didn't know if it was going to be the type of rain that would end the race or just simply delay it a bit further. Suarez, Chastain, and Briscoe all stayed out in stage 2, again, trying to play the rain game. Tires didn't matter. Fuel was really your only concern, and even that wasn't a big deal. So you could stay out and still hold your ground, and that's exactly what they did, especially with Daniel Suarez. He held his ground with Kyle Larson, who had fresher tires and had the faster car, but Suarez was able to keep him back in second place. We then had a whole fiasco of issues. Denny Hamlin saw on the racetrack reporting engine issues, something with dirt intake into his grill. He went to the garage and he was out of the race. We then had our first multi-car incident take place right after that because a caution came out when Alex Bowman spun. Corey LaJoie spins, collecting Kevin Harvick in the process, and Noah Gragson runs on top of Kevin Harvick's car on the right side, and Alex Bowman also once again involved in this crash for our first multi-car incident. Now, when we get back to racing after that multi-car incident, again, rain is imminent, so the tempo is at an all-time high, especially up front. We get back to racing with Briscoe and Suarez. This time, Briscoe gets the jump on Suarez and takes the lead from the 99 car. Not so long after, the 20 car of Bell gets by Suarez and tries to challenge Briscoe, but Briscoe, he has the better car and he holds on to win stage 2. This is when everything went off the rails. So around this time, when that stage caution came out, or when the stage ended, rain came over. Now keep in mind, when stage 2 ended, we were past the halfway mark. So this race would have been official if it was to get rained out. Well, we were under the impression because the top 4 pitted, including Chase Briscoe. Kyle Busch stayed out. He went from 5th to 1st. We were all under the impression that since Briscoe and those drivers pitted, Kyle Busch would be the race leader. Usually that's how it goes. But for dirt racing, for dirt standards, NASCAR had a different rule in place. Caution laps don't count, since when a pit stop happens, it's not like a mandatory caution, but it's kind of like a 6-minute break to allow all the teams to be able to check their cars and make sure everything's all good. So when Briscoe and all those guys, when they came onto pit road and Kyle Busch stayed out, technically, because the race was still under caution, the only time the scoring loop would ever be updated is if it's green flag racing. If it's under caution or under a red flag situation, the scoring system is frozen. So even though Briscoe pitted, because the scoring loop was frozen, when the stage caution came out, Briscoe was still the race leader, even though Kyle Busch was ahead of him. If it makes, there's a better way. I'm pretty sure a person out there on social media had a better way of translating it to make sure it makes sense. But basically, if there is a caution or red flag, score system is frozen. And it stays frozen until the green flag drops. So that's basically how it went, which caused a lot of confusion because there were even drivers that were being confused about where they were. Some of them thought they were further ahead. Some thought they were. It was just all. It was just absolute madness. Even Mike Joy, when he explained it, took him over a minute or so to explain it, and people were still confused. Denny Hamlin also, who even tweeted out, because he was out of the race, he tweeted on how ridiculous it was that it took over a minute of explanation to describe what's happening, why it was happening, and all this stuff. But now some people were pointing at the scoring pylon that Fox has with their graphics. Mike Joy tweeted or said during the broadcast that it was a mistake, when the scoring pylon updated, that because NASCAR doesn't count caution laps. So again, even though Briscoe pitted, because they don't count caution laps, the scoring system is still frozen. So if you can understand it a little bit, hopefully we were able to understand it. I at first was confused, but then once I think someone on social media explained it to me, then I got it. It made sense to me. But at the beginning, it caused a lot of confusion, and many people were hoping that this race went back to green, because then there were a lot of people that were going to say, oh, this race was a farce, it was Kyle Busch's win, yada yada yada. But luckily for us, we got back to racing. Rain would be a factor later on, but we got back to racing, so we didn't have to worry about a race ending under that confusing scoring pylon system, whatever. When stage 3 began, Tyler Reddick came to life. He shot through the middle in turns 1 and 2, in the middle underneath Kyle Busch to take the lead. Kyle Busch fell off like a rock. I think lost a dozen positions. He was able to get back to third place pretty quickly. But again, it's one of those things where after a lengthy red flag, cautions breed cautions. There was, I think, 4 or 5 cautions of either single car spins or cars being slow, and it just delayed the race even further. There's one moment I will talk about, and that involved Austin Dillon. His engine went kaput and on the back straightaway. Somehow, not everyone piled into the back of him, although Kurt Busch did end up getting the bad end of the deal. He got spun and went into the outside wall. But yeah, there was loads of cautions. I'm not counting them all, but I think Brad Keselowski spun. There was an incident that I did want to mention, that between Cody Ware and Chase Elliott. So I'm not exactly sure how it began, but Cody Ware ended up getting hit by Chase Elliott. Cody Ware spins, and then Chase Elliott gets into him on the side. That creates a stack up. Daniel Suarez and Ricky Stenhouse Jr. were also involved. Cody Ware then decides to act like a dumbass and decides to run into the back of Chase 3 times, trying to spin him out multiple times, which again is really stupid, because if you're going to wreck someone, wreck him. Don't just pat him. Don't just, sideswipe him or whatever. If you're going to spin him out. But Cody Ware, you made yourself look like an idiot, in my opinion. But anyways, it is what it is. Short track racing, so what else do you expect? It's pretty normal. We should see things like this. Drivers get angry, tempers are going to flare, getting revenge on each other. But Cody Ware, what are you doing? Sit your ass down. Then had another red flag for another 17 more minutes. Again, this race just felt like forever. But luckily, it wasn't that long, and we got back to racing with 24 to go, and that would be the last time we would have any issues regarding rain. In the closing laps, it was down between 2 drivers, Chase Briscoe and Tyler Reddick. Reddick got out to a lead. Briscoe restarted, I believe, 2nd, 3rd, or 4th, around this area, but he had some time to get by drivers like Joey Logano and Kyle Busch before he could set his sights on Tyler Reddick. And at the beginning, it seemed as though, because Reddick opened up to about a 2nd lead, he was just sailing by as Briscoe was battling Busch and Logano. Well, once Briscoe got by those 2 drivers, he was charging after Reddick. Was able to eat his lead up tremendously. He did have some issues catching up to Reddick. He kept on losing the car in 3 and 4. Got up way too high up into near the wall. Lost a ton of ground, but then was able to gain back all that up in turns 1 and 2. So he was losing in 3 and 4, but gaining it all back up in 1 and 2. And coming down to the final laps, under 3 and 4 to go, he was right on Reddick's bumper. And as they take the white flag, Chase Briscoe is all over Reddick's back bumper. Reddick, though, able to hold his ground just a little bit over turn 2, heading down to the back straightaway. Briscoe, we knew he was going to try to pull a slide job move. Does it, but drives in way too hard. Spins, takes out Tyler Reddick. Reddick spins, Briscoe spins, and here comes cheeky little Kyle Busch on the outside. Remnants of Fontana 2013 steals the win at the dirt race at Briscoe at Bristol from Tyler Reddick to score his 60th career NASCAR Cup Series win and ties Richard Petty for most consecutive seasons with at least 1 win, that being 18. Again, It was Fontana 2013 all over again. The two drivers, two leaders up front, they wrecked themselves, and Kyle Busch on the outside steals it, but just barely. Just barely. He didn't steal it by much from Tyler Reddick, but was able to get the win. Here's a look at the results. Kyle Busch, he led only one lap in this race, but he led the most important one. Reddick in second place. Oh, so close. Led the most laps in this race tonight, I should say. Joe Logano in third, Kyle Larson in fourth, and Ryan Blaney rounds out the top 5. 6 is Alex Bowman. 7th, Christopher Bell. Chase Elliott. Elliott had a horrible weekend, or horrible day, I should say, on Friday and Saturday, but was able to rebound with a solid top 10 finish in 8th. Michael McDowell in 9th. Ty Dillon had a really strong car. In the top 10 for almost all of Stage 1 and Stage 2. Had a really, really fast race car. Top 10, nice run for the 42 team. And Brad Keselowski, finally we get to see him on the first page this year in 11th place. 12th is Daniel Suarez. 13th, Cole Custer, Justin Haley, and Chris Buescher rounds at the top 15. Daniel Suarez also had a really strong car, and it seemed as though as he would be the driver to be in contention for the win. But once we got back to racing, after that lengthy caution, he was just nowhere to be found. 16th, Austin Cindric, Todd Gilliland, William Byron, Corey LaJoie, Harrison Burton, Martin Truex Jr., and Chase Briscoe. Chase Briscoe would finish 22nd after that spin with Tyler Reddick. 23rd is Eric Almirola, Eric Jones, and Josh Williams in top 25. Cody Ware, Noah Gragson, Bubba Wallace, Ricky Stenhouse Jr., J.J. Yaley, Austin Dillon, Kurt Busch, Ross Chastain. Now, Ross Chastain, he finished 33rd due to him having engine issues, kind of similar to Denny Hamlin. Too much dirt intake in the grill of his car, and his engine would not run. And in fact, he even said during an interview during the red flag that if this race were to go back under green, he would not be able to continue because the car wouldn't start. It didn't start, so he had to retire and settle for 33rd. 34th is Kevin Harvick, Denny Hamlin 35th, and Justin Allgaier rounds out the field. Here's a look at the playoff grid. William Byron now still top of the board, only driver with 2 wins. Kyle Busch now becomes the season's 8th different winner, so his name is now colored in green. Chase Elliott, Ryan Blaney, and Joe Logano, those drivers have at least a 1 race buffer. Truex Jr., Tyler Reddick now 13th in points plus 29. Eric Almirola plus 25. Kevin Harvick and Christopher Bell holds the final spot ahead of Daniel Suarez. Austin Dillon minus 10. Buescher minus 25, and Eric Jones minus 26. The racing, like I said, the racing was really good. If you take away all the issues from NASCAR officiating and the rain and everything like that, if you just focus on the racing, it was really, really good. It was really fun to watch. I even tweeted, I said, you know what, screw it, I'm on board. I'm all going all in with dirt racing at Bristol. It was really fun to watch the racing. I don't care what y'all say about how it's ridiculous, it's stupid, we shouldn't be racing on dirt. Listen, it was either that or get rid of Bristol entirely because no one was watching the spring Bristol race on concrete. So dirt gave it new life. And some people might say the luster, it's gone, this and that, the intriguing part of racing on dirt is gone. I don't think so. We'll have to see with the ratings how they will tell us if the luster is gone or not, but it was great racing. Just the rain and the officiating of the scoring pylon just screwed it all up. I will say this, Stage 1 and Stage 2, great racing. Since that red flag, or when that first red flag came out, just everything went to shit. I'm satisfied, especially with that finish. Damn, that finish! I was so happy, though, that to see Chase Briscoe and Reddick, they showed really good sportsmanship with each other. Reddick understood that, hey, he didn't do it on purpose. It was a racing deal. Briscoe going out, to say, hey, my apologies. It was a really good little conversation they had, showed a lot of sportsmanship. The complete 180 from what we saw last weekend at Martinsville in the Xfinity Series between Meyer and Ty Gibbs. But it was nice to see, and it was a fantastic finish. Again, Fontana 2013 all over again with what we saw. Busch just out of nowhere just sneaks by on the outside to steal the win, while both the 8 and the 14 cars spin into the inside. That was one fun finish. I had a feeling that Briscoe would move Reddick. I didn't think he would pull a slide jump move. I thought he was too far back for that, but entertaining finish. But man, I feel for Reddick. Reddick, he has been a stout this season. He has had multiple chances, 4 wins. He's going to get a win. That 8 car is going to go to victory lane sometime this year. But he's been knocking on that door. But overall, I was entertained. That is going to conclude this episode of MDK Racing Victory Stop. If y'all enjoyed this video, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe for more content. Tell me your thoughts in the comment section down below. What are your thoughts on this race? Did you like it? Did you not? I feel like I may be in the minority when I say that I like this race and I would like to see Bristol return on dirt. Hey, maybe I'm the only one that's okay with that. And I don't care. But yeah, thank y'all so much for watching. Congratulations to Kyle Busch, your winner at the dirt race at Bristol.